I'm not the kind of person who believes in weird stuff. Ghosts, glitches, conspiracies. I always thought that was internet junk. But what happened to my colleague Eric? It still keeps me up at night. Not just because of how he disappeared, but because of what we found years later. And because, deep down, I think he's still somewhere in the system. Back in 2016, I worked at a finance firm in downtown Chicago. It was one of those high-pressure corporate places, glass walls, card scanners, fluorescent lighting 24/7. Everyone walked around like they were auditioning for a Wall Street reboot. I was in compliance. Eric Donnell was one of our mid-level accountants. Quiet guy, hardworking, always the last to leave. Not flashy, just reliable. That year, we had a brutal internal audit. Some flagged discrepancies had popped up in client reconciliations, and the partners were breathing down everyone's neck. People were working overtime, documents were being pulled from deep storage. Hell, I was living on black coffee and vending machine sandwiches. Eric volunteered to take on the flagged report that started it all. It was something about a set of accounts from Q4 that didn't add up. Minor on the surface, but something about it set off the audit team. He didn't complain, just stayed behind after hours to go through the old records himself. That was on a Tuesday night. The next morning, I came in early. His laptop was still open on his desk. Coffee half finished. A sticky note on the screen said, "Check file 8871B. But Eric? Gone. At first, we thought maybe he just crashed somewhere. Long hours mess with your head. But when noon came and there was still no sign of him, our manager told facilities to check the cameras. And that's where everything started getting strange. The building had standard surveillance, nothing fancy. Every hallway, every records room, elevators, stairwells. They pulled up the footage from the previous night. There it was, 11:12 p.m. Eric scanned his badge, walked into the restricted records room, holding a flashlight and his laptop bag. Door closed behind him, and then nothing. Literally. The feed froze at 11:13 p.m. The timer kept ticking, but the screen stayed on a still frame of the closed door. It stayed like that for 14 minutes. Then, click, the footage resumed. Same camera, same hallway. The records room door still closed. But no Eric. No one left. It was like he walked in and just blinked out of existence. Facilities swore there was no glitch on their end. No power surge, no interference. Just one 14-minute window of static. We opened the records room ourselves. His laptop bag was sitting neatly on the floor. No signs of a struggle. No evidence of foul play. Just one thing off. The box labeled 8871B was pulled out, wide open, and completely empty. Police got involved. At first, they treated it as a missing persons case. But without a body, no signs of crime, and no exit footage from the building, hell, not even a trace of his digital keycard after that night, they hit a wall. The case went cold in 2 weeks. Management told us to respect the family's privacy and moved on. HR cleared his desk, scrubbed his emails, reallocated his accounts. But for those of us who worked with him, it was like walking past a ghost every day. I didn't tell anyone this back then, but a few nights later, I stayed late in that same office. Same floor, same glow of the monitors. Around midnight, I heard the records room door click shut, soft, like someone barely touched it. When I checked, it was locked. No one on the security feed, but on the inside glass, there was a fingerprint, fresh, smudged, like someone tried to push out. I told myself it was just my nerves. That's what stress does, right? But then came the audit charges. 3 years after Eric vanished, our firm made headlines. Federal investigators raided the office, seized our servers, froze accounts. Turns out someone had been falsifying reports, rerouting funds through dummy clients.
Million gone.
Shell companies across 2 continents. And here's the part that still makes my blood run cold. Some of the forged documents were signed by Eric Donnell. Not scanned, not copied, signed, his actual signature, on files dated over a year after he vanished. At first, I thought maybe someone was faking it to cover their tracks. But investigators confirmed it was his biometric sign-in, his secure login. his password. His login timestamps came from inside the office network, but not from any known machine. One of the IT guys told me off the record he found evidence of a terminal deep in the server logs. A device that was no longer listed on the network map. Hidden, old, like it had been disconnected, but still ran occasional pings. Worse, its location tag, records room. The company took the hit, settled out of court, paid fines. No one ever got arrested. A couple execs retired early. Everything else got swept under NDAs. But I couldn't let it go. One night I went back to the building. Used an old badge I had forgotten to return. The place was nearly empty. Most of our floor had gone remote by then. I walked to the records room. Same door. Same hallway. Quiet. Cold. When I opened the door, the lights flickered on, and I swear I heard typing. Faint, mechanical, like someone working at a keyboard in the dark. There was nothing there, just a single dusty terminal. Still plugged in, still powered, still logged in under eDunnel. And on the screen, a folder titled 8871B had just been opened. Then, no joke, the screen went black. The lights cut, and I heard the door behind me click shut. I sprinted out. That was the last time I ever set foot in that building. Now, every time I use my work computer, sometimes a folder flashes on my desktop for half a second. 8871B. I delete it. Every time. And every time, it comes back. Let me start by saying I never wanted to talk about this. It happened in 2021 at a mid-sized tech firm in San Francisco. You've probably heard of us: cool branding, flashy website, a disruptor in the HR software space. We had been bags in the conference rooms and kombucha on tap, but underneath all that, that place was rotten. My name's Daniel. I worked in compliance. I sat right across from HR, and that's how I got to know Maya Jennings. Maya was the kind of person people trusted. Not loud, not soft either, just solid. She joined as a junior HR rep in early 2021. She asked the right questions, kept receipts, didn't play office politics. Everyone liked her, which is maybe why they chose her. About 7 months in, things got weird. One Friday afternoon, Maya was called into a closed-door meeting with our VP of People and someone from the board. That in itself wasn't unusual. She was handling a few restructuring docs. But when she came back out, she looked pale. She pulled me aside and whispered, "They just asked me to terminate 6 employees quietly. No cause.
No documentation.
Just get it done." I asked if it was performance-related. She shook her head. They didn't say, but they said it had to be done before end-of-day Monday. And no one is supposed to know who gave the order. Over the weekend, Maya texted me. She'd been going over personnel records. She found out that all 6 employees had one thing in common. They had all submitted complaints, anonymously, about unethical bonuses being issued to certain board members. Internal fraud. She said the names were protected under our whistleblower policy, but someone had clearly accessed the back-end system. I told her to report it to legal. She responded, "Legal reports to them." Monday morning, she came in early. We had barely made eye contact before she got up and said she was heading to the back HR suite to grab termination files. That room was rarely used. Mostly old cabinets, locked drawers. Only HR staff had keys. That was the last time anyone saw her alive. By noon, people were asking where she was. By end of day, security was combing through badge logs. Tuesday passed. No sign of her. Wednesday morning, around 8:40 a.m., the facilities guy went to check the back suite. He found the door jammed. When they forced it open, there she was, curled in the corner, eyes wide open, face pale, gone. The cops came, sealed off the office. We were all sent home. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said it was suicide. Others said heart attack. But nobody believed that. What really sent chills down my spine was what the coroner told my friend in security. There's no sign of self-harm.
No trauma.
She didn't even struggle. Worse, the door was locked from the outside. Now that door, it wasn't built to lock from outside. It only had a turn knob lock on the inside.
No keypad. No bolt.
You couldn't even close it fully unless you were in the room. Security pulled the camera feed. There was nothing, not a blank tape, just no footage. Like those hours never existed. They blamed it on a server glitch. Said it must have failed to record due to a migration error. Except all the other floors still recorded just fine. That night, a few of us who were close to Maya got drinks. Her roommate told us Maya had backed up some of her files, sent them to herself through a personal email, that she was planning to go public with what she found. Blackmail, threats, false firings, all buried inside bonus memos and non-disclosure documents. She had receipts, and they knew it. A week after her funeral, I got an anonymous email. No subject.
No sender.
Just a single attachment. my_final.zip. I opened it. Inside were PDFs, documents from board meetings, payout schedules, flagged payroll entries. There were Slack screenshots too. Messages between execs discussing containment and erasing risk. One message chilled me. She has access to the door logs. Lock it down before she speaks. That's when I realized someone had tampered with the building system. They didn't just shut off the camera. They rewired that door, made it so it could be locked remotely from someone's laptop, and they waited for her to go in. When I tried to forward the files, my screen blinked, then froze, then shut down. When I rebooted, the zip file was gone. Next day, I came to work. My ID didn't work. My email was deactivated. No explanation. HR told me I had voluntarily resigned. I never did. T's been 2 years. The company's still running. Bigger than ever. IPO next month. No one ever got charged. Maya's death was ruled accidental confinement leading to cardiac arrest. That's the official term. The weird part, one of the people she was ordered to fire was me. And now I think I was supposed to be in that room. But she went in first. Sometimes I still get emails from her old address. Just timestamps. No text. Every single one is sent at 4:44 a.m. Same time she was declared dead. And always the same subject line. Do not lock the door. I moved to another city. Changed industries. But I still check over my shoulder whenever I enter a meeting room. Especially if it only locks from one side. You never really know who's behind the door, or who's waiting for it to close. My name's Arian. I used to work in the operations wing of a corporate office tower in Lower Parel, Mumbai. 10th floor. Long hours. You know the vibe. Half the building's glass. The AC's always too cold. And no one ever talks in the elevator unless they're drunk or on Bluetooth. It was a fancy company. A tech consulting firm. The kind that gives you shiny laptops, makes you sign 10 documents on day one, and brags about employee-first culture. But if you stayed late enough, past 10 p.m., something always felt off. I'm not the kind of person who gets into gossip or ghost stories. But this thing I'm about to tell you, it happened. And I'm still scared when I take any elevator alone. They called it Elevator 3. Our building had 6. But 3, that one ran up the center column. Slack, metal interior. Slower than the others. It always took longer to close. Like it was waiting for something. 3 interns died. Over 3 years. Same elevator. Same time of year, June. All working night shifts. And every single one of them found crushed at the bottom of the shaft. The first time it happened, in 2018, everyone thought it was a freak accident. A second-year student from IIT interning in cybersecurity. Smart kid. Apparently forgot his keycard. Pried open the doors. Fell in. That's what the company told us. No CCTV footage was shown. Just a HR email at 6 a.m. telling us to keep the intern's family in our thoughts. The second case was harder to explain. A girl from Delhi interned with the data team. She was on her 3rd week. Stayed late for a migration job. Same elevator. Same story. She didn't pry anything open. The door had opened for her, but the car wasn't there. That time, someone noticed the cameras had a 2-minute blackout. A technician who used to work with us, Raghav, said it was an error in the elevator firmware. But his tone, I'll never forget it, like he wanted to say something else, but didn't. Then came 2020, COVID time, barely any staff, but we had one intern, Karen. He disappeared during a night audit. Security did a check, found his phone cracked near the elevator. They shut it all down the next morning, claimed he'd fallen during unauthorized maintenance. All 3 had phones that went missing, later found wiped. Always the same story. By then, people in the office stopped taking elevator 3 after 9 p.m. I was ready to chalk it up to bad luck until the 4th one. Same intern batch as Karen, but this one made it out. His name was Dev. He was on the automation team, kept to himself. But I noticed he always took the stairs. Then one day in 2021, I ran into him in the smoking zone. He looked hollow, not sick, just like someone who hadn't slept in weeks. I said something casual like, "You okay, bro?" And he turned and asked me, dead serious, "You ever see the elevator doors open when it's not there?" I froze. Before I could answer, he lit another cigarette and said, "They told me if I didn't stop asking about the elevator contracts, I'd be next." That same night, I got an airdrop notification on my phone. No sender, just a file titled, "Don't write it on MP3. I listened. It was Dev, whispering, panicked breathing. He says, "It's moving on its own. I'm not inside, but it's moving." Then a voice, not his, deeper, like a whisper from inside metal. "You're already in." Then elevator sounds, the ding, the hum, then silence. I didn't see Dev after that. Next morning, his desk was cleared out. The company said he was released for policy violations. I went looking, talked to a friend in building maintenance. He looked uneasy and told me something he shouldn't have. The maintenance contract for elevator 3, it's with a company that doesn't exist anymore. What do you mean? The vendor listed on the service reports went bankrupt in 2017. So who's maintaining it now? He just looked at me and said, "I don't think anyone is." That's when it hit me. The system for that elevator was completely off-grid. I asked around, found out that elevator 3 wasn't supposed to go below B1. But in the logs, there was an entry for B3. There is no B3, not in the blueprint, not on the buttons. I reported it to compliance. They told me to drop it. A week later, my login was suspended. I was told my contract was under review. Before I left the building for good, I went back to elevator 3. I stood there for a long time. It was around 11:30 p.m. The doors opened. Empty. I stepped forward. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. "Don't." I looked inside. The floor was there, but the air felt wrong. Thicker. Cold. Like something breathing. I backed away. Next day, I moved all my stuff out. I quit without notice. Didn't even collect my last paycheck. A month later, I saw a post on Reddit, some conspiracy thread. A guy in Bangalore claimed a Mumbai tech firm was running testing simulations with unauthorized AI elevators. Said the AI was self-learning, that the elevator was fed data from HR. Something about behavior prediction and intern response patterns. And sometimes, it didn't stop at floors. It stopped at people. I still have the audio from Dev. I don't play it anymore. Every time I do, my lights flicker. Once, my phone called someone by itself. I've worked at 4 other companies since then. None of them scare me, but I still take the stairs. Every single time. And I never ever ride elevator 3. Because sometimes, it rides you. Hey, I'm Sam. I worked at one of those big agencies where you live in the office and weekends are just a rumor. I wasn't looking for horror, but what happened after I left changed everything I believed about corporate life. There was a pattern, nobody could explain it. Anyone who submitted an exit survey at that place, they died. Within weeks. Car crashes, suicides, overdoses. Every single one. I thought it was coincidence. Until I got asked to do one. I saw what I shouldn't have. And they didn't want it in the appearance. Trust me, by the end of this video you won't look at exit surveys the same way. It started with Maria. She was in account services, smart, funny, full of life. She left in May 2019. A week later, she emailed HR her exit survey. 3 weeks after that, she died in a highway crash, totaled SUV. Ruling, driver fell asleep at the wheel. Then Amit, our media strategist. Exit survey submitted July 2020. Smoke inhalation. Code letter said accidental house fire caused by kitchen oil. Too often, I heard, unlucky. But then Elena, an executive producer. She left in March 2021, sent her survey. A month later, opioid overdose in her LA apartment. Her sister found a copy of Elena's exit survey, printed in red. The leadership here doesn't care who it hurts to maintain appearances. Circled, in blood red pen. Those 3 names just vanished from the agency. Payroll scrubbed. Online bios deleted. Even LinkedIn gone. It made me sick. Soon, I was handed my own exit packet. I decided to leave, too. It felt weird, writing honestly about toxic managers, ripped promises, broken teams. But I needed closure. I filled it out. I wrote what I felt. I didn't use names. Just facts. Mistakes. Failures. Lies. I clicked submit. I felt watched. For 2 days I couldn't sleep. My phone buzzed with odd texts. Miss you already. Too quiet without you. No sender. Then the next morning, I saw it. My admin access had been removed. HR had no record of my survey. Not in the database. Not in backups. Just gone. That night, someone slipped a printed packet under my door. It wasn't mine. It was Elena's. That same survey line circled in red. My heart sank. I tried asking HR. Their new head, Linda, looked pale. She said, I don't know what you're talking about. Exit surveys are confidential. But when she tried to check the system, the server returned a blank page. She leaned in, whispered, you shouldn't have done that. Then changed the subject, fast, eyes darting. Then 2 days later, she resigned.
No announcement, no goodbye.
Just an email. Effective today, I no longer work here. She never spoke publicly. No goodbye post.
No leaked memo.
Just gone. Everything about that place was sterile, like secrets wiped clean. My doctor called a week later, routine checkup. I felt off. A tightness in my chest. He sent me to hospital for tests. He found nothing, but said, you're stressed. Prescribed vitamins. That same night, I was walking home. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Message, welcome to the club. Panicked. Deleted my survey account. Changed numbers. Moved out of the city. Changed jobs in PR, another firm, friendlier, quieter. Then last night, my new HR department sent me a survey reminder. Subject, we miss you. No link. No text. Just that line. I deleted it. Blocked it. Look, I don't believe in ghosts. But in some dark corner of that firm, exit surveys weren't just forms. They were contracts. Invisible. Write the truth, incur their mark. I never got an email. I never got a call. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, I hear a soft ping. Like someone submitted something. I don't open my email anymore at 3 a.m. You might think this is just career paranoia. But 3 dead, 1 disappeared HR head, countless ghosts in forms. What do you call that? So next time you leave a job, think twice about that exit survey. Some companies want the truth. Others want you to disappear with it permanently. Thanks for listening. Subscribe if you want me to dig deeper into these dark secrets. And remember, some forms can cost more than you think.